सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शंकरं लोकशंकरं शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ठीक है. So today we are doing Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 2, verse number 29 onwards. We can 29 we have seen, but we'll revise it and go on. 29 onwards we will just revise and go. Go to the 30th verse. Before I begin the verses, I want to tell you that there cannot be an erroneous fact. There cannot be an erroneous fact. There can be an erroneous thought. And here I want you to understand the basic difference between evidence and understanding and non-understanding and non-understanding bracketed. And the evidence is independent of understanding and non-understanding. Evidence is different. Prasiddhi, evidence, like a scientist goes about understanding what is a sense evident. What is sense evident is called pramana siddham in Sanskrit. What is independent of perception, the perceiver, the consciousness, is called swata siddham. The subject's actuality is swata siddham. The world is pramana siddham. It is also called anubhava vishayam, anubhava swarupam. You don't worry about all those terms. This much you understand. Evidence is different from understanding and non-understanding, bracketed together. Understanding and misunderstanding and right understanding and wrong understanding have got opposition. Right understanding is the one that corrects the misunderstanding, and therefore it is badhakam, and the misunderstanding is badhyam. Badhyam means negatable. The right understanding negates, and the wrong understanding is negated. But independent of the right understanding and wrong understanding is the evidence of the anything for that matter. That's why a scientist goes about understanding what is sense evident. Sense evident means the world goes about understanding. A physicist goes about understanding what is physically evident. A biologist goes about understanding the body, that is what is sense evident, the body that is evident, sense evident. A psychologist goes about understanding the thoughts which are evident, the thought patterns which are evident. I can say they are all sense evident only, because unless it is physical, you cannot objectify it as a thought. It is the physicals that become the thoughts. Even though in the beginning we say that it is the perception that looks like an object, but then in Vyavahara we say it is physical, and then it becomes the object, thought. Therefore, whether it is a psychologist or a biologist or a physicist, they go about understanding what is evident, sense evident. Thus, evidence is something that is independent of right understanding and wrong understanding. This deep thinking you must do. This deep thinking you must do. This deep thinking is that evidence is distinct from, evidence is independent of right understanding and wrong understanding. And what is evident, if it is not rightly understood, then there is a misconception. Therefore, every thought about the self is something, it is swataha siddham. It is not really an object of thought. But therefore, man always thinks about himself. The whole life is nothing but thinking about himself. When he says, I see a mountain, he is only thinking about himself as an individual. He is making his existence an object of thought. That I am a form is making the existence an object of thought. And I am an individual, I am a mortal. All these judgments, the truth is not an object of judgment, please. The truth is not an object. Your existence is not an object of judgment. Is not an object of right judgment or wrong judgment. It is something that is, even when you rightly judge it, the right judgment only corrects the wrong judgment. It doesn't qualify the truth. And it goes with the wrong judgment. The right judgment also goes with the wrong judgment. And there is no wrong judgment, there is no right judgment also. And therefore, whatever man thinks about himself is a misconception about himself. Because his existence is not an object of thought. Consciousness is not an object of thought. When consciousness is not an object of thought, if he thinks about that consciousness, it is a misconception. Like the earth that is not flat. If I think of it as flat, it is a misconception. It is a misconception. The earth is evident, but it is misconstrued as flat. What is evident is misconstrued as flat, and that is a misconception. It happens to be the sand. It is evident as sand, sense evident as sand, but I misunderstand it as water. Call it an illusion, optical illusion, or a mental illusion, whatever it is. But it is an illusion. It is a misconception. If you call it an illusion, you think it is coming from heaven. But no, it is a judgment. Oh, it is water. I see it as water. And in this manner, there is a misconception about the sand. Therefore, the self is evident to be non-object of a thought. The self is not an object of a thought. But if it is thought of in so many ways, that I am a form, I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, I am an Indian, etc. It is. I am a Hindu, I am a Muslim, I am a Christian. This is all really misconception about the self. It is a misconception. And therefore, the entire life is a misconception about the self. And when he lives as an individual, as a form he lives, and when the form goes away, thinks I die. When the form disappears, I disappear. When the form disappears, I disappear. There is a misconception. Janardhan? ओ जनार्दन, क्यों आवाज कर रहा है? Sorry. So the entire life is a misconception. What is a misconception is what is evident is misunderstood, and that misunderstanding about the self is called a misconception. And that misconception depends upon evidence. And the evidence is independent of misconception and right understanding. It is independent of right understanding. The self is evident. Swatasiddham. Consciousness is not an object of thought. But still man thinks it is an object. He goes about thinking of himself. There is a difference between being and thinking. And therefore the entire life is thinking. And therefore it is a misconception about himself. This misconception about himself is what is called adhyasa. It is this that is called adhyasa. Now here Bhagavan says, From the point of view of the nature of this truth is self-evident, and it is Ascharyam, it is a wonder. And from the point of view of the nature of the truth, it is a great wonder. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidena. One sees it as a wonder. Ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanya. Another speaks of it as a wonder. Ascharyavat chainam anya shunoti. Another listens to it as a wonder. Shutvapyenam vedana chaiva kaschit. And another, the wonder of wonders is, despite hearing, you are not convinced of it, and you somehow or other miss what is the reality. Despite hearing, you fail to understand the truth. That is also a wonder. Therefore, the evidence of the truth is a wonder. Understanding of the truth, if a person understands, that's a wonder, that's right, but the evidence of the truth is Ascharya. The very existence of the truth, that it is all-comprehensive being. And therefore, from the point of view of the nature of the truth, Arjuna, you have no reason to be depressed. You have no reason to be worried. You are not going to grieve the dead and yet to be dying. The dead are yet to be dying. The dead are not yet dead. Why? Because you are not supposed to worry about the other jivas. You are supposed to think about your actuality, that is life. Every jiva is supposed to think about his actuality. Live to understand the actuality. And therefore, from the point of view of the nature of the truth, you are not supposed to grieve at all. Dehi nityam avadhyoyam. And Dehi, the embodied being, you call it Deha because there is a Dehi. Between the Dehi and Deha, there is no noun-adjective relationship, please. These statements you have to register correctly. They mean a lot. Between consciousness and matter, there is no noun-adjective relationship. Between consciousness and the thought, there is no noun-adjective relationship. There is no noun-adjective relationship. Therefore, Dehi Nityam. It is not that when the error dies, the fact also dies. No. The error becomes unmanifest. The body dies. That doesn't mean the fact dies, the consciousness dies. But in the deep sleep state, I feel it's not there. That is your misconception about it. Because your thinking about the sleep in the waking is different from your experience of sleep in sleep. Your experience of sleep in sleep is there is neither thinking nor the memory. In that manner, recapitulate. The sleep is not a blackout place. The blackout, you think of the blackout only in the waking state. But there is no idea of blackoutness in the deep sleep state. And therefore, the disappearance is felt, disappearance is concluded in the waking state. Disappearance is not experienced at all. In order to experience your own disappearance, you should be there. And therefore, Dehi Nityam Avadhyoyam. You are worried about Bhishma, Drona. How am I going to kill them? They are very dear to me, etc. I say you can't kill them. Even if you want to kill them, you can't kill them by nature. You can only kill their bodies. You can't kill their nature. I am talking about their nature. By nature, they are not eternal place. They are avadhya. Dehi nityam. The embodied being is nityam, the eternal. Avadhyoyam. It is indestructible. Dehe sarvasya bharata. It is something in every body. You don't have to grieve their death because they don't die. You don't have to fear your own death because you don't die. You don't have to think about others also. Why? Because they are also by nature eternal. Therefore, the human beings are not to be, you can serve them, When there is pain, that is all right. But don't grieve their disappearance. Don't grieve their death. They're all there. So every jiva, even if you serve them, it is not going to, you can serve them, that is all right. But the service is not the answer. Ultimately, every individual has to wake up to his nature. And therefore, you have to, you worry about Bhishma and Drona, it is not justified at all. You fear your own death, it's not justified at all. You worry about others, it's not justified at all. Man's thinking about others and about himself, about the near and dear ones, is not justified at all. His worry is not justified. Only jnanam is, he has to recognize the nature of every jiva to be eternal. Dehi nityam avadhyoyam ayam atma, this atma is unkillable. Dehe sarvasya bharata, in the body of everyone, there is, the dehi is not, deha means there is a dehi. There is a house means there is a householder. The one who is in house, that householder can go out and can come back. The house is different. Similarly, this body is different. The embodied being doesn't die. Whether it is the actuality of yourself, or the actuality of Bhishma, or the actuality of Drona, or actuality of others, it is eternal. And the eternity needs to be recognized. It's not something to be grieved. The truth need not be grieved. The truth has to be recognized. When the truth is misunderstood as an individual, then you grieve it. And that is what the Shastra is saying. Your idea that you are an individual is a misconception. Your idea that Bhishma is an individual, your idea that Drona is an individual, your idea that others are individuals is a misconception. And the idea that you are an individual is a misconception. And therefore, you better correct that misconception. You are not going to grieve about yourself, you are going to recognize yourself. Dehe sarvasya. Tasmat, therefore, sarvani bhutani, and the actuality of yours and the actuality of Bhishma and Drona alone is the actuality of every other living being also. Tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam shochitum arhasi, and therefore you are not going to grieve anybody. You need to recognize everybody to be eternal, is the same truth. Every living being is the same truth. And that's why even seva has to be done with the idea, with the belief that it is the same truth. Later on, what is believed becomes recognized. But otherwise, to begin with also, when you do seva also, do the seva, that he is the same truth as me. Due to my prarabdha, I have got some extra and to share, and he doesn't have, and therefore he is in need, and therefore I am giving. Therefore, the belief should be, the belief, the idea behind the service also should be the same as Vedanta. It is the same truth. I am serving the same truth. And the same truth misconceived is that Mr. So-and-so. The needy person, needy individual is none other than the same truth, misconceived as an individual. Just as I am the same truth, misconceived as an individual. As an individual, my prarabdha is good, therefore I have extra, and his prarabdha is not good, therefore he doesn't have, and he is suffering, and therefore let me share what I have. This idea should be there behind sharing. Sharing should not lead to ego. Sharing should be sharing should stem from the vision of the oneness, please. Tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam shochitum arhasi. You are not supposed to grieve anybody. You are supposed only to understand everybody. Swadharmam api chaveksha navikampitum arhasi. The next verse Bhagavan says, from the truth point of view, you have no justification to grieve. From your nature point of view, you are eternal, you are not supposed to grieve. In fact, you have to live to recognize it. And from the nature of the point of, from the point of view of the nature of Bhishma and from the actuality point of Bhishma and Drona, they are not to be grieved. They are all to be recognized as such. Not only that, you are supposed to not to be shaken. You are not supposed to grieve. You are not supposed to be worried. You are not supposed to refuse to do your duty, even from the duty point of view. Swadharmam api chaveksha. Swadharma means your duty. It is your duty. You happen to be a prince, and as a prince, you are supposed to protect dharma. The dharma means the right values. Dharma need not be interpreted as a religion, please. Dharma means right values. Dharma need not be interpreted as a religion. Dharma means right values. The right values are and doing one's duty is a right value. Swadharma means it's your own duty. To be truthful is your duty. To be honest is your duty. And to be kind is your duty. And to do your duty also is your duty. So dharmam api chaveksha, and from the point of view of your duty also, navikampitum arhasi, you are not supposed to be shaken in the battlefield. You are supposed to do your duty. So it so happens that your duty happens to be fighting. What can I do for that? Your duty happens to be fighting. A soldier's duty is to fight, and he has to do it. If the army general says, now I got vairagya in the battlefield, what can you do? You have to tell him, then you have to become like Krishna. You have to teach him Bhagavad Gita. No, sir, it is your duty, and you have to do your job as a general. You cannot really renounce everything. You can't renounce your duty. From the duty point, and then for understanding the truth, you don't have to renounce your duty. That is what is said. That is a very important point. In order to understand the truth, you don't have to renounce any duty. You have to renounce only adharma. Freedom from adharma brings about relative relaxation, brings about mental relaxation. When you follow dharma, dharma guarantees mental relaxation. And doing your duty also is a part of dharma, ji. And therefore you don't have to renounce your duty in order to know the truth. You have to think correctly to understand the truth, please. Thinking correctly does not require any renunciation. Renunciation gives you relaxation, yes, mental relaxation. Because when you renounce responsibility, you feel relaxed. But that's nothing. That's nothing. But thinking correctly is different from mental relaxation. Therefore, in order to understand the truth, the one thing that is that which guarantees right knowledge, right understanding is right vichara. And right vichara does not presuppose any renunciation. Even the vairagya is said, renunciation is said, the right thinking is comprehensive of kim prajaya karishyama. Even vairagyam is a part of right thinking, please. That the objects are not the answer is right thinking. The right thinking, for right thinking, you don't have to renounce anything. You have to think rightly. And therefore, there is no right thinking is not conditional to renunciation or conditional to non-renunciation. Right thinking is not. It is vastu tantram. Right vichara is true to the evident, true to the nature of what is evident, your existence. Swadharmam api chavekshya, from the point of view of your duty, navikampitum arhasi. You are not supposed to be shaken. You are not supposed to be depressed. You are not supposed to be depressed. You are not supposed to grieve, ji. Navikampitum arhasi. Dharmyadhi yuddhat shreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. Dharmyadhi yuddhat. Shreyaha anyat means better than fight for justice is the best. Fighting for justice is the best for a kshatriya. For a soldier, fighting for justice is the best. And kshatriyasya na vidyate. For a soldier, there is nothing greater than an opportunity to fight for justice. Therefore, a kshatriya, and you are a kshatriya. Kshatriya means not by caste, you are a soldier. For a soldier, nothing is greater than an opportunity to fight for justice, fight for dharma. And therefore, dharmyadi yuddha shreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. And then this opportunity has come to you unasked for. It has descended on your head. It so happens sometimes things happen in life that they just descend on your head. Some pleasures descend on your head, some pains descend on your head, and you have to receive them. Pleasures also you didn't ask for. Not every pleasure you work for. Certain pleasures descend on your head. Certain pains descend on your head. Pains I have to withstand, pleasures I have to go through with control. I cannot really reject them. What comes to me is my prarabdha. I have to go through it. As long as I have not asked for it, then it belongs to the past. The past has brought these pleasures and pains. In the same manner, opportunities also, they just descend on my head. If I am born into a rich family, that is an opportunity that has descended on my head. If I marry a very rich person, it is an opportunity descended on me. If I have good looks, it is an opportunity descended on me. Not that really opportunities are not created by you. Opportunities, you may think that you can create an opportunity, but my definition of an opportunity is that which just descends on you. That is called an opportunity. And for a kshatriya, the best opportunity is to fight for dharma, to fight for right values. If somebody is following wrong values, like Duryodhana is following wrong values, it is better to fight him, fight for justice in him. It is a fight again. It is better to fight. It is an opportunity to fight him for justice, fight him for dharma, not fight for to publicize your religion. It has nothing to do. The values are common sense values, please. They are not. It's not that some religions teach values. Every human being, by dint of being a human being, understands the right from the wrong. This is a right value. Speaking the truth is right, and it is a common sense value. It need not be taught by any religion, please. All right values are common sense values. All wrong values are known, are recognized as wrong, and therefore it's the same common sense that appreciates the right value from the wrong value. To be untruthful is wrong. Who doesn't know? You don't have to belong to any particular religion, please. Therefore, all values are common sense values. There are no dharmic, there are no religious, there can be religious rites, there can be religious prayers, there can be religious rituals. There are no religious values, please. There are only common sense values. The values have nothing to do with religion. Speak truth is not a speaking truth. Be truthful. I want others to be truthful to me. Therefore, I should be truthful to others. What I expect from others, the same thing should becomes my duty towards them. If I want others to be honest to me, I should be honest to them. This is common sense. This has nothing to do with any particular religion, please. And therefore, Arjuna, for a soldier, there is no better opportunity than the opportunity to fight for the right values, common sense values. If somebody is being untruthful, to fight for truthfulness. If somebody is dishonest, Fight for honesty. That is the best opportunity for a soldier. And you happen to be a soldier. You are a prince. By birth, you are a soldier. You are supposed to, you have enjoyed being a prince. Therefore, it is your duty to fight for justice. If the others are being unjust, you have to fight for justice. It is not that Krishna is inciting him, is inciting him to be violent. That's a wrong interpretation, please. Krishna is only saying, do your duty. If you are dharmic, you don't have to belong to any particular religion. You have to be, by dint of being a human being, just to follow the right, by dint of being a human being and by dint of having a common sense, follow the right values. Follow the right values, because right values have nothing to do with, you don't say Christian values are different from Muslim values and they are different from Hindu values, etc. Values are all universal, please. Dharma is universal. Speak truth is a universal value. A person has to be free from corruption is a dharma, that is a right value. All values are common sense values. There can be religious rituals. Religious rites or religious customs are different from values. Customs can change, whereas values remain the same. Even a medieval man always thought that others should be truthful to him, and he should be truthful. Even the modern man says others have to be truthful to him, and and therefore he should be truthful to others. Truthfulness is appreciated as a right value in medieval times, in primitive times, in medieval times, and in modern times, and even in ultra later on in future generations also, it will be understood. Like hunger is not going to change, please. The appetite is not going to change. Similarly, truthfulness also is not going to change. It's the right value. And therefore you don't have to belong to any particular religion to understand the values. The values are all, by dint of being a human being, you understand the value. A lion is programmed in the language of my teacher, it is programmed to be a carnivore. A lion is programmed to be a carnivore. A wolf is programmed to be a carnivore, whereas a cow is programmed to be a herbivore. In the same way, a human being is programmed, he has to program himself, and he has to follow the values. He is not supposed to be unkind, because he doesn't want others to be unkind to him. Therefore he should not be unkind to others. He is not supposed to, he doesn't expect others to tell him lies. Therefore he is not supposed to tell lies to others. He is not supposed to be, he doesn't expect others to cheat him. Therefore he should not cheat others. And therefore this, by dint of being a human being, he understands the values. And it is this sense of right and wrong, this basic sense of right from wrong, is what makes a human being different from other animals, please. Other animals are just programmed, whereas human beings, they have to program themselves. Animals are programmed, but human beings have to program themselves. And therefore, from the nature's point of view, you are not supposed to grieve, and from your duty point of view, you are not supposed to grieve, and from an opportunity point of view, you are not supposed to grieve, and from the dharma point, from the value point of view as a soldier, you are supposed to do your duty. And there is no better opportunity than fighting for values, the right values. Meaning, the more you think of the values, the more you are relaxed. The more you follow values, the more you are relaxed, please. And that relaxation facilitates your vichara. If you want to do vichara. If you don't want to do vichara, even if you are relaxed, you will not. Vichara, relaxation does not guarantee right thinking, please. But relaxation is useful when you want to do reflection. Understand my point. Relaxation does not guarantee right vichara. Silence does not guarantee. Exposure to the Vedanta should guarantee reflection. You have to hear Vedanta, then that may trigger off reflection. Otherwise, you can say it is all meaningless. The Vedanta says that I am Brahman. It is all meaningless. You can just reject it. But if you are receptive, if you are a Shraddhalu, and if you are a logical thinker, you will definitely start thinking, reflecting. And therefore, it is the exposure that may trigger the thinking, please. It is not mental relaxation. There are people who are rich, who are doing very well in their job. They are also mentally relaxed. And those who are successful, they are mentally relaxed. But they don't start thinking vichara. They don't start doing vichara. Vichara is not a part of their life, please. They just you indulge in your relaxation, and the relaxation gets exhausted. Yes, you live relaxed, and then you die relaxed. But that relaxation comes to an end. But it's not. It gets exhausted. It is not something that guarantees vichara. But when you are doing vichara, then relaxation is useful. If you are not doing vichara, relaxation may be useful for relaxing, but it does not guarantee vichara. The relaxation is useful, mental purity is useful, antakarana shuddhi is useful only for a person who wants to know the truth. Otherwise, antakarana shuddhi, what do you do, ji? You will be all right, you will be relaxed, all right. Antakarana shuddhi by itself gives you relaxation. And if you don't use that relaxation for knowing the truth, then that relaxation gets exhausted one day. And therefore, it is a time-bound relaxation. Every relaxation is time-bound. Every mental peace is time-bound. It is not timeless, please. Only the truth is timeless. Every other mental position is time-bound. Once the time is gone, it is exhausted. Like mental peace in the morning, when you go to a hill station, you are mentally very peaceful, but because you are free from responsibilities, duties, etc. But then it is time bound, it gets exhausted. And therefore, from the nature point of view, don't grieve. From your duty point of view, do your duty. And from the values point of view, there is nothing like living a life of values and fighting for values. And you be vociferous in protecting the values, and that by dint of being a human being, not by dint of belonging to any particular religion, please. Because all values are common sense values. Even a person who doesn't belong to any religion knows that truthfulness is right value. And he did not know it from any religion, please. He knew it from his common sense. Therefore, all values, the entire dharma should be mean only the values. It need not be religion, even though these days the word dharma is interpreted to mean only religion. But I think the best thing is the dharma should be interpreted to mean only the right values. And the right values are all common sense values. They have nothing to do with any particular religion. You need not belong to any religion to be a good human being, please. You don't have to belong to any religion in order to be a good human being, because goodness is a matter of common sense. It has nothing to do with religion. Edrichaya chopapannam swargadwaram apavritam. It is said, an opportunity that descends on you to fight for justice is something. It is a kind of it is choice. It choicelessly opens the gates to heaven. It gives you mental relaxation. That is called heaven, please. We don't know what is heaven, but one thing we understand: when you are comfortable, that is called swargam. Swakiyena karmana gamyamanam is called swargam. It is the result of your own karma. That is called swargam. Narakam means where is free from. Kam means sukham. Narakam means it is free from sukham. That is called where you are not comfortable. That is called a narakam. And comfort is known by understood by everyone, by every human being understands comfort as acceptable, and discomfort is not acceptable. Why? Because comfort happens to be his nature. Discomfort happens to be alien to his nature. Therefore, his pull is always towards his nature. And therefore, you don't have to. Swarga means nothing but comfort. Naraka means discomfort. And fighting for justice is heavenly. It is a heavenly phenomenon. Sukina Kshatriya Partha Labante Yuddham Yidrisham. Only the blessed Kshatriyas, the blessed soldiers, get this opportunity to fight for right values. Because the right values are indeed called dharma, and that dharma, human beings fighting for right values alone, they can be very happy. And therefore, just happiness itself, just a mere pleasure itself doesn't guarantee any vichara. But when you are doing vichara, then relaxation helps you, mental peace helps you. Understand this point very well. Mental peace itself doesn't guarantee vichara. But when you are doing vichara, mental peace is helpful. And therefore, blessed are the soldiers. Kshatriyas need not be interpreted to mean only caste. Soldiers. The human beings are blessed. All human beings are blessed who fight for justice, who fight for the right values, whose agenda is to promote right values, who think of promoting right values, and therefore, and they are comfortable. Fighting for justice, fighting for values makes them very pleasant, makes them very happy also. And the more of it we will see later, please. Today I am not feeling great well, but we will continue it in the next class. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.